announcement has been paid for by the NW Bros podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Blade, Big Kev, and California. It's the NW Bros podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NW Bros podcast, and welcome to a special new series that we're going to have here, WCW Flashback. We're going to be checking out some stuff from before the time the NWO is there, when someone on the podcast cannot make it because Blade right now is inundated with work. So we thought we would do this, and we thought, Big Kev, that we're going to check out Bash at the Beach 1994. And before I get into all the details, Big Kev, how are you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm looking forward to doing this because it's really interesting to go back in time and see like sort of 2 years prior to what timeline we're in, and see how much has changed, see what differences they've brought in, and it was interesting. It was an interesting watch.
It was. So much has changed, and you look at the people on the card, and you can't believe the landscape of professional wrestling at the time. But it took place on July 17th, 1994, from the Orlando Arena in Orlando, Florida. 14,000 in attendance, a sellout, and the tagline for the show was Hulk's WCW debut. Now, Big Kev, we know that I go through some facts about the arenas.
Here we go.
So at the end, it was called the Amway Arena, and it was the Orlando Arena originally. Later, the TD Waterhouse Center. It closed in 2010 and was demolished in 2012. Few quick little facts here. REM performed at the arena in 1989. And they, recorded some stuff for like a radio show live there. And many professional wrestling pay-per-views, were held there, including the 1990 Royal Rumble, obviously the Bash at the Beach 94, Armageddon 2003. On March 29th, 2008, they held their Hall of Fame induction, the WWE. In conjunction with WrestleMania XX1V, so that's 24, which was held at the Florida Citrus Bowl. Many Orange and Seminole County public high schools held their graduation ceremonies at the arena. Very nice. And the final event at the Amway Arena was a performance of the So You Think You Can Dance tour on September 30th, 2010. Great way to end the arena and have a reason to knock it down. So anyway,
I was thinking the same thing in my head. What a poor way to go out.
After that, they're like, you know what? I think it's time that we knock this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get the opening package of the show. A young John Williard making the voiceover here. And if you want to find out about John Williard, you can check out my exclusive interview with him on the Insider's Edge podcast on my old channel. John was the voice of WCW. You know, he was the voice of WCW and the voiceovers back in the day. So it was for me, Kev, I kind of popped listening to John's voice at the time because it sounded much younger. Do you have anything to say about the opening package, or can we go forward?
Yeah, I'm just going to go just purely off my first reaction to what I'm seeing. Just the first reaction to it when you see the crowd and everything, and when the pay-per-view starts, is just like this is just a little bit of Shane missing, from what we're watching. I'm looking around at the crowd; they look a lot older. Not as many young college kids in the crowd. They're not drinking beer and going wild as much. That was my first reaction when I started watching this. This package wasn't as dated as some of the stuff we've seen in '96, but it for the time. I thought it was okay. But yeah, it's interesting.
It is interesting. You know what? You bring up a great point, because I didn't take the time to look at the crowd. And now you've mentioned that, yes, it is way different in 1996. So, one thing they had over the WWF at the time is we get Hogan versus Flair. We get that clash that they were supposed to have at WrestleMania 8. Flair ended up wrestling Savage, and I think Hogan wrestled Sid. They have Tony, Bobby, and Gene to start off the show. That's a good start.
Yeah.
They let us know that Shaq is there, Mr. T is there, and they've clearly gone to the well for this one. I can't believe I didn't write the guy's name down, but whoever sang the national anthem, they nailed it.
Darren Norwood. His
Darren
name is.
Norwood.
I don't actually know who he is. He must have been a country artist of some sort. He had a pretty sweet mullet.
Yeah, he did, and Kev, you're a vocalist. What did you think of his performance? I mean,
If you want that sort of country feel, I guess he hit the nail on the head. Maybe a little bit too much vibrato for my liking, but no, it was fine, for what it was. That's another thing I thought of the presentation of the show. Still, it's 94. We're 4 years into the 90s, and it's still got that 80s kind of feel to it, big time.
I felt like that throughout the show. I was like, this is very NWA 1988 at different stages.
I mean, there was only like two and a bit years of difference between what we're currently watching and compared to this, but it still felt like it was like a 10-year, 20-year gap, almost sometimes.
Yeah.
It's really,
I believe they showed a package of some things that had happened on WCW Saturday Night. As we know at this stage, there is no Nitro. I was like, who is this Charlie Chaplin dude that Hogan attacked? And it surprised me that it was Sherri. Flair gets some heat on Hogan after missing the first chop block. Mr. T shows up. And yeah, it's just letting us know what had kind of happened just prior to this. Any thoughts here, Kev?
Obviously a lot more was happening on Saturday night than what we're currently watching. We get a bits and pieces here and there, but back here, I'm sure the show was filled with a lot more stuff going on. I had to check this as well because I looked it up. I was like, is this Sherri's kind of debut? And it was. That was.
Oh, it was her debut.
This is the first time we've seen Sherri in WCW, and what a way to bring her in straight into the main title picture, I guess, and the main story.
Yeah, cool. And I did have to laugh at them, that Tony and Bobby were talking, and Bobby called Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, and he's seen it. He said he's seen him backstage without his shoes, and he's only 5'11".
All right, Kevin, let's get to the first match here of Bash at the Beach 1994. It's the WCW Television Championship on the line. Johnny B. Bad, Steven Regal. Kev, your thoughts?
Yeah, they had a good match. I think this confetti that was shot by Johnny B. Bad really it was there the whole fucking pay-per-view. Anyone got the outside or touched it, it was just all over their body. It was a mess. I find Johnny B. Bad's character, obviously he's kind of taking, like, he's like supposed to be like Little Richard, the singer. So he's taking that, but the title Johnny B. Bad is taken from the song Johnny B. Good, but that's a Chuck Berry song. So it's interesting. I'd like to know the origins of how he came up with this character, or who came up with this character. But I thought his spray tan was wow. Wow.
I believe Dusty Rhodes came up with the idea.
I could see that,
Richard.
yeah.
But you know what? After all this time, I had no idea. I didn't think of it. Johnny B. Good. Of course! That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
How did I not think of that? It's like all these years I thought the Doobie Brothers were guys whose surname was Doobie. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, they just like to smoke a bit of shit. Any other thoughts on the match here?
Yeah, I think this is one of the better ones tonight. You had a pretty good, awesome heel in Regal, who it's just he's just the ideal for this role to get the crowd to hate him. He's obviously a foreigner, which at this point in time they like to boo the foreigners and cheer the Americans. So yeah, it was a good match. A little sneaky win here for Regal. Yeah, it was a good opening match.
Yeah, I thought it was a good opening match too, and you can check out my exclusive interview with Mark Mero on my old Insider's Edge podcast. But Mark is the first person on this show that is no longer in WCW as we get into the NWO era. I just wanted to say the ring announcer was Gary Michael Capetta, and he can eat my ball butter. Thank you. And you want to know?
Yeah,
You want to
I
know
would love
why?
to know. I want to hear the backstory.
Oh,
Yeah,
you want to know why? Okay.
ball butter. That's really
Look, here we go, Kat. Okay. I tried to get Gary Michael Capetta on my old podcast. So I sent him a few interviews of mine that I previously had done. Gary had checked out some of them, but checked out some more apparently.
oh
And here's the thing. I interviewed Rip Rogers. Now, when I called Rip Rogers to do the interview, I had to do it on Skype. So when I did it on Skype, it had to be an audio interview. So it seemed like it was he was told it was a spam call that was coming through, right? So he read me the riot act. He was very pissed off, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm calling from a computer from Australia. Of course it's going to say it's a spam call, but he ripped me a new hole. And me and the guys from the Slam Society at the time, we found that very funny. So at the end of the interview, I popped out that portion of him tearing me a new hole because I thought it was funny. And I'm sure he wouldn't have given a shit because it was funny, right? Gary Michael Capetta took exception to that, saying that I'd aired a private conversation, and I'm like, it was funny. Like he didn't give a shit. Like anyway, so that's why he didn't want to come on my show because of that. Well, fuck you, Gary. All right, it would have been a boring interview anyway.
fucking hell.
Anyway, did you know, Big Kev, Sir William, that was with Mr. Stephen Regal here, is in fact Jeeves.
Oh, okay.
It was
Wow.
Jeeves. Yeah.
So what I wonder what happened for him to go from this to Jeeves.
Yeah, who's like that? That is the nerdy minutia that I'm looking for.
I'm glad you told me because I didn't know that. I didn't had no idea.
That's the nerdy minutia I'm looking for. I need to know whose idea it was that he is no longer Sir William. He is now Jeeves. I need to know. Hopefully, Guy Evans can let me know. He won't know. No one cares other than me and maybe my friend Adam from Boston. Regal's still got that same theme song. Amazing. I love that. I think Bobby said that Mean Gene had fleas, not butterflies. And the glitter, as you mentioned, Kev, like it was all over Regal's back. It was all
Terrible.
so fucking good. But I thought the finish was quite boring. After a match with great psychology. But I did like that Johnny B. Bad just killed Sir William and stomped on his hat, which I thought was despicable. Mean Gene introduces Antonio Inoki. Inoki got given a plaque, and Regal confronts him with the glitter on his back, and gets on Antonio's hole about you know, I'm sick of these so-called bloody legends. This is starting off a quick angle between Regal and Inoki. Kev, what did you think of this bit here?
I thought Regal was awesome here. I actually believed it actually made me feel like what he was saying. He actually believed what he was saying. You know, what did he say? Something like beating Muhammad Ali and Andre the Giant doesn't impress him or something like that. He's like, doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, he was really good here, Regal. And I like how he's just backing away, like let him know, yeah, you're lucky, And he's walking away. It was great stuff.
Yeah, it was. You see Steven Regal here in a bit of a different light than you do in '96. I think it seemed like they were really going with him, really going.
Yeah,
with him.
he's almost less hokey here in a way, bit more serious,
Yeah, he's not wearing the frilly thing, and
No,
if you think about it, like 2 years pass after this. By 96, he's still kind of doing the same thing, but he's just got a tag partner, Dave Taylor, and
Yeah.
Jeeves is there. But yeah, like they're going with him here for a bit, but then it's like they pull the brakes on him for some reason. But who knows why? I'm sure I could Google it and find out. But anyway, we're going to move forward, Big Kev. Vader with Harley Race at ringside takes on the Guardian Angel. Now, for those out there who aren't aware, the Guardian Angel is Big Bubba, aka the Big Boss Man. Horrible gimmick.
I wrote the exactly same thing. So that's horrible gimmick for a trailer here.
What a
Yeah.
horrible fucking
Oh
idea.
my God.
What did you think of not just the gimmick, but the match, Kev?
We also had Jesse Ventura join for commentary before this one started as well, which was I was stoked for that as well. I found Jesse Ventura's presentation here was different. He just had more of a suit. It wasn't flamboyant at all. Like he was really straight laced. But just when he starts talking, he's just got one of the best of all time. His voice just really adds to the match. I'm wondering what the psychology was behind using him, especially for this match with Vader, and I guess it's a bit more of a hard hitting match. Also, going to ask you, what did you think about every single time they finished the matches? They went to the sort of that side profile of the commentators, which I thought was different. I was like, "Whoa, this is an odd angle to." It was almost down the lens of them a little bit to the side. It was different.
Bit strange.
Yeah. Just as far as the match is concerned, this was some stiff blows here from Vader. But I thought when it comes to like how smooth as for a big man, I think Ray Traylor is really just such a big man, like the way he operates and the way off the ropes, everything. He's just so smooth and crisp. Compared to Vader, was a bit more of a brawling sort of like very stiff. You can see. But you can see where Ray Taylor's wasn't taking it. He was giving it right back. Pretty hard hitting match here.
Yeah, you know what? I think Ray Traylor is incredibly underrated.
Same.
I know he's in the Hall of Fame, but I know I remember people like going, "Oh, he's shit." No, he's not. He's actually really good. Like he's smooth, man.
He's quite athletic for a man his size too.
Yeah.
I thought the ending here was funny. Like Ray Traylor got DQ just for having the bat in his hand. It wasn't. He didn't even use it. It was like that was it.
That's right. It was a bit of a bullshit finish to the match, wasn't it? But looking at this, Vader by 96 is gone. Harley is gone. I'm sure he's probably around. But of course, Ray is still there in 96. Don't really have anything else to add there. I mean, I enjoyed the battle between the two of them. It was hard hitting and
wasn't too long.
I could watch Vader versus Bubba or Boss Man anytime.
Yeah,
a million times, and I'll be entertained.
The only other thing in this match that made me laugh is just how many times Harley Race got knocked down or just like Ray Traylor must have hit him about 6-7 times during this match. It was funny. He was just getting tossed out of the ring here and there, thrown over here, knocked off the apron. It became pretty comical for me.
Yeah, Harley earned his paycheck on that evening. We got a package with Bunkhouse Buck and Terry Funk just killing Dustin Rhodes. Do you have anything to add there?
There's just a little bit before this. I think it was Mike Tenay, which I was really surprised by.
Was he?
Yeah, there was Mark. It was a backstage thing where it had, I think for later, but it had Mike Tenay and Chris Cruz was there. But Mike Tenay, I was really surprised by because I didn't realize how early he was there. Because later on when we were watching, he kind of comes into the commentary and he kind of get introduced like he's a new guy. But obviously he's been in the company for a lot longer, and it'd be interesting to know how long he actually was there.
Right, I must have had a few beers at this point. I only when I watched these, everyone out there, when I watched these first two matches, it was like 2 weeks ago, so I don't really remember everything. But wow, so tonight was there, very cool.
Yeah,
we got like a little highlight thing here of Molly McShane beating the Sassy Boys. And then I wrote, Kev, how good is that shit, bro? So that I wrote that 2 weeks ago. I have no memory of it.
It was like a 2-on-1. It was two men against a woman in this match. For what reason, I'm not sure. It seemed like it was some sort of promotional thing. It's called Ron Radio Network or something like that. It was called. But yeah, I don't even know what the point of this was, to be honest with you.
Molly McShane. I'm googling it right now. Okay, so she's a professional wrestler. Okay, right. Um, she had a high profile match in World Championship Wrestling where she faced Medusa in a hard fought match. Thank you.
Okay.
She's known primarily for working in Steel Kittens Promotions. Thanks. No one knows what that is. What a shit website. But she's known as the Irish Star. So she got on this bill against who the fuck? The Sassy Boys. What were they, like guys from like the local radio station or something?
Yeah, I think they're named Ron and something. Ron they were called, I think.
Here we go. Reddit. The Sassy Boys at WCW Bash at the Beach 94 with 4 question marks. So watching WWE Network right now. This is from Nick in the Box from 11 years ago. And they're replaying the 94 Bash at the Beach pay-per-view, and it was based out of Orlando. There was a segment on the show where Ron and Ron show hosts were in the corner of the Sassy Boys, a play on the Nasty Boys, I think, who were wrestling 2 women. No, they were wrestling 1. One of the Sassy Boys was none other than Fez Whatley, who was pinned after a quick count from Jimmy Hart. Has this ever been brought up on the show before? Oh, okay. So this is on the Reddit account of Ron and Fez, which is some sort of fucking thing. And everyone in the comments has nothing interesting to say. Oh, D-Def said, Fez has talked about before. Thanks, D-Def, you fucking dickhead. Thanks for no fucking information whatsoever.
Oh, great. We're none the wiser now.
Oh, thank God for that. You know, everyone at home is dying to know about the Sassy Boys and Molly McShane, I'm sure.
At least you'll get a little picture down the bottom and we'll know who these people are, what we're talking about here. But basically, it was 2 guys got beat by a woman who wasn't very big either. So,
yeah. And I'm going to have to do a deep dive, I think, to get those pictures. But anyway, look, Big Kev, let's move forward here. Yep. Dustin Rhodes has enlisted the services of Arn Anderson to help him face Terry Funk and Bunkhouse Buck with Colonel Robert Parker at ringside. Kev, again, what did you think of this matchup?
This recap showed them trying to pile drive. Did you see this bit where the recap showed them trying to pile drive Dustin Rhodes? They tried like 3 times, and they just let him go. I have no idea why they used this as the footage to build the match, because it was just a cluster. When this match came out, in my brain I started thinking to myself, it seems like Bischoff has made a conscious effort here to remove this sort of southern aspect of WCW in later, because a lot of these people are not here anymore. They are quite that sort of, that southern sort of known wrestlers or characters or anything hokey. Kind of, you can see this begin to get removed from the show, which what we're watching and the timeline we're watching, but. So it's basically, this was just Dustin Rhodes and pretty much in a 2-on-1 handicap match, really. If getting beat down makes the hot tag to Arn, and then Arn just fucking turned on him.
Did you see it coming?
I couldn't. No, I couldn't see it coming.
Really? Because when I was like, Arn's not been tagged in at all.
I could see him getting pissed off that he wasn't.
I kept thinking he's not been tagged in at all. I feel like he's going to turn on him. I don't know why. I just thought that. But anyway, anything else?
That was it. That was it. It was pretty much just a 2-on-1 handicap for a majority of the match here. It was. Actually, after this happened, we had a Tony Schiavoneism from Mean Gene. If you heard, did you hear that?
Really?
Yeah, we did.
Please tell.
Mean Gene said, "That was the most despicable thing I've ever seen."
That really is a Tony Schiavoneism.
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact, Big Kev. Bunkhouse Buck played Jack Swagger's dad in WWE.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just like one of those very rare fun facts. I don't know how that happened, but I think it's cool that many years after he was in WCW, somehow someone was like, you know what? If we're gonna get someone to beat Jack Swagger's dad, let's get Bunkhouse Buck. No idea why they thought
Yeah.
that, but look, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, okay, at this point, Dustin's not there in '96. Funk is not there. I think Bunkhouse Buck kind of leaves just before, or he might have been there a little bit after Scott Hall showed up in '96. Obviously, Colonel Robert Parker's there. But before that, I believe Bunkhouse Buck and Dirty Dick Slater were the tag team champions in WCW. But I thought the whole time I felt like Arn was going to turn. I was enjoying Jesse Ventura on commentary. I mean, I think he was only there for the first one, two, three matches, and then after that, Bobby took over. But I think Jesse's kind of almost on the outs with WCW. I guess Hogan's showing up now, so.
Oh, yes, right. Yeah.
The crowd were with the match, but the heat went on forever. Um, I One thing that you know what, this is a random thought that has nothing to do with the match, Big Kev, but I wanted to see what your thoughts were on this. Dusty Rhodes would go on to wrestle after this time period, right? Very seldomly, several times in ECW. I wonder why he didn't think that it would be a good idea to actually have a match against Hulk Hogan at some point, considering that they'd never had a match. You would think, okay,
Hmm.
Flair and Hogan is that's a pretty big match, WCW versus WWF. Dusty and Hogan never wrestled. You would think that maybe someone might say, "Hey, how about we try and do like even when Hogan had turned heel,
Yeah.
would you think, hey, Dusty, how about you fucking try and get into a bit better shape, and get ready to get in the ring one time and work with Hollywood Hogan?" What do you think about that, Kev?
Well, man, we've had multiple people from his past and other wrestlers like where Piper had a feud with Hogan
Mm,
for what three pay-per-views in a row, I think it was, or
yeah.
two, maybe two. So why couldn't Dusty have done that as well? Like it does make sense. But yeah, I didn't even think about that. Why didn't
Yeah,
that happen? Why didn't that happen?
yeah, just to me, it just kind of makes sense. Like, okay, so Hollywood Hogan comes in '96. He beats, the Giant. He's doing his thing. Works with Savage at Havoc. Works with Piper at Starcade. Wouldn't you think maybe Dusty after Starcade might be like, you know what? Like
Hmm.
maybe I need to stick up for WCW. Maybe I need to get in there with Hulk. But I don't know. I hope someone out there could maybe let me know why Dusty didn't really wrestle very much after this point in time. I get wanting to be behind the scenes, but
Maybe we just need to slide into Cody's DMs and just ask him how come your dad didn't wrestle in 96?
was Cody even born yet? I don't know.
I don't
Of
know.
course he was. He's older than me, isn't he? Surely. Anyway, so I thought it was hilarious that Auntie DT'd him in. I had no idea the whole match. The guy that was at ringside in the suit, I didn't realize it was Meng until someone said it was.
Oh, yeah, I was going to bring that up. I said, what a different role he had, eh?
And he still had a lot of filling out to do because he was still like looking like Haku when he was like teaming with Andre the Giant. Like he was
Yeah.
a bit slimmer. But yeah, I had no idea until someone said it.
He looks like he was like the muscle of the group or something. He was like the
Yeah,
sort of
what are they
enforcer
called?
role.
The stud stable, I think they're called. And anyway, Dustin gets beaten up after the match, and maybe his arm was broken. But thankfully, Doug Dellinger and Randy Anderson made the save. I thought that was funny. Um, They're leaving. Mean Gene needs to get the scoop. He's dying to get the scoop. Arn Anderson just
Gives
just
him nothing.
just ignores him, walks away. Uh, Mean Gene again. He's very he's important to the show because again he's always showing that he's a journalist. He's looking for the scoop. Tony and Bobby are talking with Hank Aaron, baseball legend. clearly they went all out with the celebrities here, Kev. Um, they asked Hank Aaron who he thought was going to win between Hogan and Flair, and he said that he was hoping for the best for both of them. And then Bobby with the comment of yeah, Hank Aaron's going to be running for president because he couldn't pick a winner because he's being too much of a politician. And then Hank Aaron walked away, and then Bobby said that he's a so-so hitter. Like, isn't he the best ever? But what do you think of the influence here with WCW bringing in the celebrities here? You know, they're trying to make it a big deal, right?
Yeah, you can tell Bischoff's definitely behind this. You know, we didn't see much of this previously when he wasn't there. So I think you can see Bischoff's trying to do anything he can to get eyeballs on this product and get it out of the funk it was in for years before this, where, you know, and it was always the second show to WWF at the time. So yeah, he's trying to bring the celebrities in. He's changing it up. He's, you know, as we can see in the next couple of years, it changes a hell of a lot. Yeah, he's definitely putting a big emphasis on this pay-per-view to try to get some buzz happening and you get some eyeballs on this product.
Yeah, he's I can see at the time the concerted effort, but I can still see the old WCW still leaking into this WCW, like the set.
Yeah.
Like when you look at the set of Bash at the Beach in '96, fantastic. Surfboards in the sand and the big chairs, and I saw the set this time, I'm like, oh, a bit bland, a bit bland.
Yeah, as I said before, there was a little bit of Sheen missing from this time period for me.
Yeah, definitely missing a bit of Charlie Sheen. Ric Flair. That's just a stupid inside joke. Ric Flair and Sherri are backstage with Gene. They don't do pre-big time match interviews backstage in WWE these days on the big pay-per-views. It's just you never get that anymore. But I do like this. Kev, anything to say here?
Just a moment, you know, and this is like, you know, we got Sherri now with Flair. How many female managers did Flair have in his career? It's crazy.
So many.
I just thought Sherri looked good here. She looked very in shape, and she always just looks and sounds on point.
Sensuous Sherri.
Yes,
sensuous.
Yes, sensuous Sherri here, and yeah, she's just a pro as well. And I'm glad she's in this sort of prime spot on this pay-per-view because she deserves it. I'm a big Sherri mark, so yeah, it's good to see her here.
And if anyone should be there to help Flair try and fuck Hogan over, it should be her.
Fucking context. Sherri Martel was a professional wrestler and manager in the 1980s and 1990s, working mainly for the World Wrestling Federation and World Championship Wrestling. Over the course of her career, she managed Macho Man Randy Savage, helping him in his feud with Hulk Hogan, which they lost. This crazy bitch never forgot that, and came to WCW in 1994 to fuck that bald-headed fuck all over again as Sensuous Sherri, Ric Flair's manager. Speaking of Hulk Hogan, remember the time he hulked up and pounded his best friend Bubba the Love Sponge's wife, Heather Clem? Well, goddamn. Let's be honest. When your best mate has a wife with cans that succulent, wouldn't you partake? Just fucking look at them. Holy shit, dickhead.
And in the main event, wow, it's amazing.
Can't wait. Moving forward, though, United States Championship on the line here. Stunning Steve Austin taking on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Both guys no longer with WCW when we get to 1996. So, a sign of the times here, bro. This was a long one, Big Kev. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a long one. I don't know, man. I much prefer Austin, just the brawler, brawling around the ring.
It was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, like he's a completely different wrestler here. You know, some of his stuff he uses later on is here, but majority of it's not. He just seems like a different wrestler, and it's just different presentation. He's more of works on a body part. He's more a technical wrestler, to be honest with you. So I thought this is like kind of more a technical match of the night. Austin's music now, is later used by Greg Valentine and Marty Jannetty later on.
Thank you. I was trying
But
to figure it out. I couldn't.
the actual
Yeah.
the actual variation of the chords of the song is quite similar to it, like his theme later on. This one's more of a, I don't know how to go. When again? It was like a more of a.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, it was.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's similar chords, but it's like a more of a slowed down sort of way. So I wonder if that inspired his later theme song.
How did you figure out that it was Greg and Marty's theme later on? How did you figure that out?
I'm a fucking nerd, Carl. That's why.
I'm supposed to be there. I'm wearing glasses.
I know. I just remember. We were watching it like recently, and Marty Jannetty came out with that music, and I just thought it never suited him or Greg Valentine whatsoever. It was like
I thought to myself, I bet like 40 guys have had this song.
I think Pat Tanaka had this music as well at some point. It went around.
For Christ's sake, he has Goldberg's theme, then this one. Anything else to say about the match?
It was a long match, lots of pinfalls and reversals, and it kind of reminded me of like the Steamboat Savage match in a way from WrestleMania, where they kind of did a lot of similar stuff. But I don't know, man. To me, it was just I found like the matches on this era kind of seemed a bit long to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
it was. Although technically both of them, it was a masterclass in how to put it together. But yeah, I don't know. I much prefer Austin just as the brawler compared to this Austin.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
Man, obviously these guys were killed it out. It was a very high quality match, but yeah, it was a little bit too long for my liking.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Dustin tag match with Funk and Buck was a bit long. I thought this was a bit long. I thought the tag title match was a bit long, which would be next. But I loved going into this pay-per-view not knowing the card, not knowing the scene at the time.
Yeah.
Realizing that as you know, Steamboat comes out, he's facing stunning Steve Austin, and I just thought, like, man, like WCW back then, they had Austin and Foley, dude, like, and they had Steamboat, like, geez, and Vader, and things changed so much. Again, yes, it was very weird watching Austin doing his thing. I really laughed at Bobby Heenan saying, we've all known that Steamboat's been a quitter, like, of all people, Steamboat being a quitter. And I didn't quite get this joke, but Bobby had said something, and Tony said, and they took a shot of between Tony and Bobby from behind as they're looking at the ring. And Tony had said, that's the brain, by the way, after he said something stupid. And Bobby said, that's the other part of the anatomy. And then Tony giggled, and you can see his shoulders like that. And I'm like, I have no idea what the joke was, but maybe... Anyway, anything else?
Yeah, we got Austin with a win with the feet on the ropes.
He cheated, right? But you know what?
It was almost on top of the referee when he was doing it. It was kind of funny. Yeah.
Randy Anderson did a very good job here. But you know what? They in this match, I felt like they did a good job in making the 3 count seem that it matters.
Yeah.
It's about pinning your opponent, right? And I wrote this, compare every man on this roster right now to AEW or WWE's roster right now. I'm sorry. Like, this is star after star after star. Anyway, Austin retains after cheating. We go backstage. Oh, God, who was he with? Chris Cruz was... Who was he with?
Yeah, it was Chris Cruz with... was it with... Orndorff and Roma, is that right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we have another funny comment here from the Brain, Bobby the Brain. Do you remember it?
Yeah.
He said that, is that Chris Cruz? I thought it was Dr. Kevorkian. I thought that line was...
It's honestly a great call.
Yeah. Well, for those that don't know who Dr. Kevorkian is, was Dr. Death, like he assisted...
Yeah.
There's a movie that was about him as well. I think Al Pacino played him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he killed people that was supposed to be being looked after. He was a horrible...
I think they were terminally ill.
Right. Okay. He was just...
So it's kind of like it was controversial. Like, like he's a killer, but also he's kind of like assisting people
He was
who
doing like euthanasia, but
that's
yeah,
that's what they call him Dr. Death. So
right.
uh,
Okay. Fuck. But yeah, that was kind of funny. You know what? I've already mentioned it before, but Chris Cruz is a fucking cunt.
why is that?
He is horrible, horrible. I had him as a Facebook friend for years. He is so fucking horrible and unkind and just not nice about anything. He never says anything nice about anything. He's always so just horrible about everything. You know, like I remember he was talking about Lex Luger, right? This is only a couple of months ago, and I had to go at him. It's about Lex Luger and saying, you know, I don't know, he thought Lex was a prick and blah blah blah. And I said, you are always so negative. You are never nice. You don't ever see the good in anyone. You don't ever believe that somebody can grow up and change. You're always negative. You're never nice. And I know he replied, but I never read his response because I just don't have time for him.
What if his reply was, Carl, did you work with the motherfucker?
I'll be like, man, like no one wanted to work with him. Okay, no one wanted to work with Chris Cruz. All right.
Oh, okay, so
I asked him to be on my podcast once upon a time.
okay, the truth's coming out now. Here we go.
No, this was way longer, like way prior, like years. And what did he say? I said, oh, you know, I was just wondering if you like to like hop on for an hour and talk about your time in WCW. And I think he was just like, I couldn't think of anything I'd hate like more. And I was like, you don't have to be a fucking dickhead about it. Just say, oh, sorry, mate, I don't really do that anymore. I don't really want to talk about wrestling, but I appreciate it. That's all you need to say. Don't be fucking rude to me, bro. Anyway, Dr. Kevorkian, let's move forward. Gene needs the scoop, and he interrupts the party backstage with the stud stable.
This was the best bit.
Oh man, he's letting them know that he's got credentials and he's allowed in there. Okay. So he gets in there. Buckhouse, yes, Buck is partying. Funk is partying with Arn. They got some girls in there. Please, Kev, let us know what you thought.
You could tell they've already had a few drinks. Like they were already blitzed backstage. It was just funny. Arn Anderson's professional. Tries to do his promo out of nowhere. They just started pouring the champagne over his head. I'm a little bit surprised at first, like, oh, what's going on here, you know? But he continues to cut the promo. It's going in his eyes. It's sticking the shit out of his eyes. You can just tell. And he's wiping it away, and he's continuing on the promo. What a pro! Like,
dude, it was so funny seeing that layer of champagne over his face. He's in the middle of a sentence as well.
He's doing cutting this like serious promo. You got to go out of your way to watch this. It's pretty funny. But yeah, like after this must have cut, he must have said, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" Like, you know, like what the fuck? Because you can tell this wasn't scripted whatsoever. There was just like they were. Those two were just really pissed, and it was funny. Good little backstage thing here.
I was like, this
gem.
They were ribbing him. He's in the middle of trying to talk. They were definitely like, let's fuck with him right now. That's such a Terry Funk thing, I reckon. But you know what? Again, if Blade was here right now, I'd ask him about Arn wearing the glasses during the promo. Okay. The glasses just age Arn Anderson by like 20 years. But okay, one other thing that I thought was funny, after all of this, Arn's had the champagne over his head several times whilst he's trying to talk. As it's fading out, Gene is yelling at the ladies in the room with them. Did you hear that, Kev?
No, I missed this bit.
You know, you girls should be ashamed of yourselves. You know, beautiful girls like you. And like, he's just about to continue the sentence and we cut away. So he's saying like, beautiful girls are like you shouldn't be hanging around with scoundrels like this. Like, Gene's made it a point right now to have a go at the two ladies in the pretty dresses backstage, partying with Bunkhouse Buck, Terry Funk, and Arn Anderson. Coming up next, Big Kev, WCW World Tag Team Championships on the line. Pretty Wonderful, which is Paul Roma and Paul Orndorff, taking on Kevin Sullivan and Cactus Jack with Dave Sullivan at ringside. When this started to happen right here, Kev, I was like, oh, I didn't know Kevin Sullivan and Cactus Jack were tag team champions. I didn't know
Yeah.
Paul Roma and Paul Orndorff were a tag team called Pretty Wonderful. I was expecting like the tag champs at this point to be like the Road Warriors or the Nasty Boys or something.
Because
But
Harlem Heat were around at this time as well, still, right? They came to like,
yeah, I think they were
yeah.
like they're like 93 or something. But what did you think of the tag title match?
This was a strange laid out match for me.
I
Um,
agree.
Cactus Jack and Sullivan together didn't seem to meshed for me. Like the visual of them two together. Whereas Orndorff and Roma, they look like a tag team to me. A pretty cool name as well. Pretty wonderful.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, their presentation there was pretty cool. But if you looked at all these wrestlers in this match, and you know which ones survived up until the NWO period, which we're watching, probably Kevin Sullivan would have been the last guy you'd have thought you'd have. I will keep this guy, but we'll get rid of these three, just purely by how they look. You know, like Roma looks like $1,000,000.
Yeah, he does.
Jacked, and by the way, he's got an awesome punch. His punch looks great. But yeah, this was a weird match where like Sullivan was in the match for the majority of it, and Cactus really was not in there until the end, and then it was kind of over, and so like it wasn't much of a match from Cactus Jack here.
Yeah, it was barely in the thing.
It was long as well. I don't think the crowd were into it either. They took a long time to get warm to this match. It was really the brooding sort of atmosphere was kind of like, come on, we want the main event now sort of feel to it. But yeah, well, at the end, what the fuck was Kevin Sullivan's brother doing? What? He just fucked him like for no reason.
I don't know if you're aware of Dave Sullivan. He's like Kevin Sullivan's like idiot brother.
Oh, okay.
That's why he's wearing the Hogan thing. He's supposed to be like the idiot brother that Kevin has to put up with. I think that's
gotcha.
The kind of
Okay, I'm getting some context here because they had the match won, and then he just decided to go up at the apron and then fucked the whole match.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was not much of a match for Cactus Jackie. I wanted to see more of him.
I did too, and I felt like he wasn't featured properly here. But I do believe he wasn't happy at this stage in WCW.
I can see why.
And I believe, as I'm reading right now, Paul Roma's contract ended in March 1995 and was not renewed.
Interesting.
So I guess they decided. I don't know why. I don't see what's wrong with him. And I believe Paul Orndorff, I think maybe not too far into 96. I think he had problems with his neck. So.
Didn't he have an altercation with Vader as well? That's sort of.
Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah, that's like early 1996, I think. But I remember watching 96 WCW before the NWO, and I remember Paul Orndorff's like one of his arms was like way skinnier than his other arm because of his neck. And I guess
Sure it was his neck or wasn't his jack off? That was his jack off arm.
like he's been jacking off that fucking hard.
How immature.
It's still funny though.
The credibility of this podcast has went down the toilet.
No, it's gone up. Okay. Anyway. Okay. What notes can I give you on this tag title match? Okay. So I think Tony. Okay. Another thing that Bobby made me laugh. Pretty Wonderful were walking to the ring, and Tony said, "Pretty Wonderful. They're taking their own sweet time." And as they said that, the ring girl was walking away holding like some jackets. And Bobby said, yes, she is. So he's pretending that Tony's called the pretty girl Pretty Wonderful. And then he said, I think one's got a sister, Tony. And he mentioned to Tony like that they're going to try and go out with the girls after the show, which Tony did not say anything because he's married to Lois. I did kind of, my eyes kind of widened when I saw Paul Orndorff actually make Kevin Sullivan get off his feet and take a bump with the arm drags. They were Bobby again. He's comparing Paul Roma to Cactus Jack, and he says it's like comparing ice cream to manure.
Oh,
And to be
God.
honest, after that, there was a close up of Cactus Jack, and I'm like, you know what? He does look like shit. Let's be honest. Like,
Well, and to be honest, again, he's actually in better shape here than he was actually quite skinny here as well,
he
which is,
was,
yeah,
but his ring gear fucking ugly, man. Like that's an
yeah.
ugly outfit. I think Vince McMahon was right when they brought him in as Mankind to change his complete look. You know, I think Cactus Jack just wasn't working for me here with the look anyway. I didn't see any psychology in this match at all. It was just kind of like they were, I don't know, they were trying to get heat on Kevin Sullivan, but Kevin Sullivan barely sells, so it's hard to
Yeah.
get heat on him, right?
I felt like it should have been the other way around, that Cactus was in there the whole time and getting the beat down, then making the tag to Sullivan kind of that didn't work. I thought it should have been the other way around. Whereas why is Sullivan doing all the heavy lifting and the work where he's
I'm
not
just
really
going to
the
say this, Kev. We've been watching some Kevin Sullivan in '96. I don't understand his. Like, I understand he's a taskmaster and all that, but I don't understand his character as it pertains to wrestling in the ring. Like, remember the brawls he had with Benoit? Benoit's fucking punching him in the head, and Sullivan's not even rocking his head back. Like, he is he like impervious to pain, or he does like I don't understand why he doesn't sell very much. I haven't got that much of a problem with Kevin Sullivan. I think he's a genius as a booker, but as a wrestler, I never understand why it seems like when someone punches him, nothing happens.
he's not even the taskmaster here, is he? He's just Kevin Sullivan, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just Kevin Sullivan. Anyway,
Yeah. I don't know.
again,
No, let's be honest, he's not the most crispest wrestler in the world, is he?
no, he's not. He's a bit stuck in the mud. They showed President of WCW Bill Shaw at ringside with Hank Aaron, and Hank Aaron was drinking a beer. And Bobby Heenan says, "Who's Shaw?" Like, you know who Hank Aaron is. How are you not aware of who the president of the company is in comparison to the black baseball playing legend Hank Aaron? Anyway, yeah, we get the end there with Pretty Wonderful becoming the new tag team champions. Okay, we're getting towards the main event here, Big Kev. But before we get there, Tony sells the Hogan Flair match, and Bobby is clearly against Hogan. Look, do you have any quotes here that you picked up on here, Kev?
Which one's for that? The
Tony and Bobby are kind of sitting in the at the table, and they're looking at the camera, talking about what's coming up with the main event with Ric Flair and Hogan.
the only thing I put is like the consistency of Heenan for his hatred towards Hogan as throughout his whole career. He's never faltered. He's always remained that he's just a piece of shit. He hated him. He's always hated.
Yeah, it's brilliant how it's been going on since like what, WrestleMania 3, or was he, I don't know, was he managing Bundy at WrestleMania 2? I don't know.
I don't know what it is. I'm trying. I was just what put me off there for a bit. I was trying to look in my notes because I know there was a hotline.
Was there? Okay.
I know we missed it, but it was a really good one as well. So I'll say it now because I think we've passed it. But
Yeah.
He says, Mean Gene says, this hotline, call up, get the scoop, blah blah blah. We've got Shaquille O'Neal in the house. He may be even answer the call. So we call the number right now. It's like, come on, you scammer.
Such bullshit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Shaq's just going to pick up. You might be the lucky one to get Shaq.
Shaq is not interested. But yeah, a couple of quotes here from Bobby. He talked into the camera and said, Hogan, if you beat Ric Flair on record, it's a fluke. And then he mentioned to Tony that after the show he can have his warm cup of Ovaltine and a cookie. Whilst Bobby's out partying with Flair and etc. Okay, so we get to the main event here of Bash at the Beach 1994. Commissioner Nick Bockwinkel comes out with no theme music, no reaction.
I put the same thing. It's like it was like no one knew who he was. It was unbelievable.
Terrible, right? Poor Nick.
Nothing.
Shaq comes out. He gets an ovation. And you know what?
Big pop, yeah.
I'm gonna say this, Kev. Shaq was a handsome son of a bitch back then, don't you think?
Yeah, he's sick. It's just crazy to think how far back. Shaq's so popular at this point in 1994, like how long he's been around, you forget.
Wasn't he was he a rookie in 92?
Yeah, I think he was in 92. Played for he was still with the Magic at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Orlando Arena.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think he played from 92 to 94. I think then he
What
went
a
to the late.
team. What a team.
Yeah,
Anthony
could have,
Hardaway.
could have won one. Just didn't quite. Just that son of a bitch, Michael Jordan was always there to take. You couldn't beat him.
Fucking MJ.
Yeah.
Although I bet they felt fucking good when they had Horace Grant on the team too, and they eliminated the Bulls when Jordan was number 45. But they love that shit. Anyway, let's get to the main event here. Ric Flair, WCW World Heavyweight Champion, with Sensuous Sherri at ringside against Hulk Hogan with Jimmy Hart and Mr. T at ringside. First thing I want to say here, Big Kev, American Made is a fucking sick theme song, dude.
It's a good replacement theme song for his, obviously his main one from WWF is everyone
Real
remembers
American.
of that. But for a second one, you've got to come up with another song. It's got the same kind of feel. I think they did a pretty good job with this one.
Yeah, Jimmy Hart. Props to Jimmy Hart. He's American made.
Is that him?
Bam, bam, bam. No, the vocalist is JJ Maguire.
Yeah,
Never heard of
right.
him, but JJ Maguire, fantastic.
Because I was going to say, if he sung that, I'd have been astounded. Like because I heard Disco Inferno talk about like that Jimmy Hart sung his theme song, and I was like, what? Like I thought it was
That's
a girl.
right. Yeah.
So if he could sing this too, like what a vocal register he has.
No, JJ Maguire was the vocalist, and he also sang the American Males theme song.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Ooh, American Males. Hogan's first match here in WCW Big Kev is for the World Heavyweight Championship. Doesn't need to beat anyone. Just straight up getting the title shot. But I have to laugh before I ask you about what you thought about the match. Michael Buffer. Was it Michael Buffer?
Yeah.
He was comparing the moon landing to Hogan versus Flair, or was it Tony? Either one.
Yeah,
They're comparing the landing. Neil Armstrong. Yeah, no, it was Michael Buffer. They're comparing Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landing on the moon to Hogan versus Flair. That was making me laugh so much.
So good.
Way over the board. Anyway, I feel like Flair versus Hogan is like Pepsi versus Coke. This is to me like. This is the match you wanted to see at WrestleMania 8. I mean, I would much rather Flair and Hogan than Flair and Flair and Savage, but Hogan and Sid. Please, Big Kev, anything to say here? Everything to say here about the main event of Bash of the Beach 94.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. This was good. And the two guys, once again, like another match where you kind of went over when we reviewed when the first one when it was Hogan as a heel versus Flair as a babyface.
Yeah.
They just keep it very simple in this match, and there's do a lot of these tactics that just get the crowd invested in the match. Like for instance, we got which I thought was great when Flair used Sherri as his shield.
Yeah, he did it so many times.
And normally when someone does it, the female will be like, oh, like you're looking scared, but Sherri's like, yeah, come on, fucking bring it on.
Hit me.
Yeah, so that was cool. Yeah, so like we had a lot of interference here from Sherri. She was absolutely amazing in this match.
This is how you use ladies at ringside, Kev.
Yeah.
She is a factor in the match. She's not just standing there looking pretty like Scarlett. Scarlett should be doing more in WWE like Sherri is here. Like Woman is where we're at in WCW 96.
And you got Sherri trying to give Hulk Hogan a chair shot, and then Jimmy Hart saved her. But then Sherri's super aggressive. She just took up Jimmy Hart, like bam, hit him.
Yeah.
And she actually makes me feel that I feel like she would kick his ass in real life. It's not a stretch to me when I watch this. I look at her and go, she's a strong female in this, but with no fear whatsoever. I believe it. I believe that she could kick Jimmy Hart's ass as a male.
Because he's a pipsqueak. Yeah.
A lot of stuff they try to do now. It's like we got the girls beating up the guys. It's not believable whatsoever. But here, I do believe it. I do believe Sherri can do some damage because she's just the way she presents herself, the way she comes across is just she's a badass, like no
Yeah,
question, you know.
definitely.
Um, I like her taking her pantyhose off
Oh, that was great.
to choke Hogan. That
It's
was
so
awesome.
smart. Like she's looking for anything she possibly can find to fuck him over, and she's like, "Oh, I'll just pull the fucking stocking off my leg and
Yeah,
fucking choke him out." Yeah, I love
great
that bit.
stuff. She got on top of the top ropes to splash Hogan. Now she was really involved in this match, but there was a lot of back and forth here between the two. A lot of their greatest hits again from both. You know, the Flair over the ropes and doing all that stuff, and the clothesline and catching Flair off the top ropes and flipping it. All that stuff was in this match. You know, you've seen all these moves before. And that's the funny thing. You could see these matches, they do all the same shit, but it's so entertaining. And just having that Sherri element in this match really made it even more entertaining. The pantyhose weren't done. She grabs the other pantyhose out and she pulls that one down and pulls some brass knucks out of the other one. Yeah, it was good stuff. And then just yeah. What did you think, Carl?
Oh man, like honestly, for me, I thought to myself, you know what? This wasn't like what people today think is a banger.
Mm.
I think it was a banger.
So
I
do I.
think
I really enjoyed it.
this was a main event. This was drama. It was constant drama. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Flair and Sherri trying to find any way possible to fuck him over. And eventually Sherry's taken out of there by Mr. T. He's finally done his job, you know? But again, like barn burner, 5 stars, you know. Flair's got him in the corner. He's chopping him. He's punching him. Hogan starts to no sell like Sting does to Flair. Flair had the knucks thanks to Sherri, who got nailed off the ring apron. Knocks out Hogan with it. Kicks out. Great drama again. We got the whole cup. Hogan won the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Like this was I don't know how long the match went. Let's have a look. Hang on. I found it here. 21 minutes and 50 seconds.
Didn't feel like it.
I thought I was enthralled the whole time.
Same.
The World Tag Title match, 20 minutes, 11 seconds. Bit too
Felt
long.
like it was double that.
20 minutes, 6 seconds for Austin and Steamboat. 11:15 for the Stud Stable and Arn Anderson and Dustin. 7:58 for Vader and Guardian Angel. And 10:40 for Steven Regal and Johnny B. Bad. But yeah, honestly, it didn't feel like it went forever.
No.
I fucking enjoyed every second of it, and I don't give a fuck what anyone has to say. Like to me, that's what wrestling is.
Yeah, this was the best match in the card. You know, as far as the technical wrestling match is concerned, obviously those people would give it to Austin and Steamboat, but I just didn't find myself resonating with that match at all. I don't know why. I just didn't. I was like, okay, I'm not going to remember it at all. But was very memorable. Like all the moving parts in the match, involving the outside influence in the match changed it. You know, like basically Flair and Hogan did all the same greatest hits, did all the same moves and all the same spots and stuff. But they added these other little elements like Sherri and then Mr. T had a little bit of a part to play in the match. And it was a lot of it's dramatic. The match is dramatic, and it's building to you got the crescendo at the end, and it was like
That's what you're looking for, man.
yeah. I enjoyed the shit out of it. It was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and I was glad. I mean, I'm pretty sure I watched this back in the day when I had the Hulk Hogan anthology DVD, but I can't remember it. So it was at least this time. Now I'm definitely going to remember it. And the reason why I probably don't remember it last time is because when I watched that DVD, I'd smoke a bit of chuff. Okay, so, so look, this was great. Heenan was beside himself. Hogan's backstage celebrating. Jimmy's in the background holding the belt. Hacksaw Jim Duggan's there. Hogan's ranting, and Gene's with him. Hogan's just good at this stuff. Gene's talking about wanting to go party with Hogan. There's going to be a big party. And then, of course, they cut back to Bobby, and Bobby storms off as Tony closes out the pay-per-view. Anything else to add here, Kev?
Yeah, what did you think about this sort of ending of the pay-per-view? Because you could have went off the air with Hogan and celebrating the crowd hot, and it was done. But it's kind of went backstage into this sort of almost like a sports ending to the pay-per-view where everyone's backstage celebrating. He has a promo after the match is finished. You've got Hacksaw's there and Brian Pillman I see in the background and a bunch of other wrestlers are at the back and everyone's getting a bit of a. So I felt that it was more of like a sports ending to the pay-per-view, which was different. I don't remember them doing this too often.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was just something nice and different.
Yeah.
Seeing him celebrate backstage and all that. But yeah, it's funny to me, like when the NWO happens, how good is it for Bobby Heenan to finally get props for what he was saying for nearly 15 years? Everyone loves him all the time. Bobby can't fucking stand it. He has to get up and storm off after Hogan's won the belt. And then he's like, see, I told you he was a piece of shit all this time.
Scumbag, yeah.
And I remember the last thing that Tony said before we went off the air was wrestling is cool again. And
Yeah.
I thought to myself, yeah, Tony, I'm waiting for that to happen in 2025, please. Oh dear. Anyway, Big Kev. One thing I forgot to mention earlier was the buys. The buy
Okay,
rate.
this is just interesting.
So hang on, maybe I need to get up the rest of the numbers. But for Bash at the Beach 1994, 225,000 buys. So if you want to compare that to where we're at in 96, Bash at the Beach 96 got 250,000, which was 25,000
Right.
more. It got 5,000 more than Hog Wild. It got 5,000 less than Fall Brawl 96. And we're not at Halloween Havoc yet. But still, it trounced
Solid
Great
number.
American Bash and Slamboree. And yep. So, yeah, I mean, pretty decent number. And at that time, by the way, Big Kev, that was their pay-per-view record, of course.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Hogan equals ratings.
Yep. And speaking of ratings, Big Kev, before we get to our ratings of the show, cagematch.net decided that this was at this stage after, why do I do this? 45 votes. Who cares? 6.59 out of 10. IMDb, 78 votes, a 6.1 out of 10. Big Kev, going to you. If you're going to rate this pay-per-view out of 10, what would you give it?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It was around about there, probably a 6 for me as well. There was some highlights on the show that I really enjoyed, but there was also a lot of the matches for me were really they dragged quite a bit. We could see that the timings of the matches later on, what we're watching, you get your main event might be the 18-minute mark, 20-minute mark, then all the rest are kind of like 4 minutes, 7 minutes, and quick turnarounds. It's a bit more faster pace. Where I found myself a little bit sometimes watching this one, it was a bit like, okay, come on,
Yeah,
finish
I felt
up,
that. I felt like that middle bit with the tag team match with Funk and Buck, US title match and the tag title match that really dragged. And the tag team match with Buck and Funk was only 11 minutes 15, but it felt like it went way longer just because of so much heat on Dustin. But anyway,
I felt like what we're watching currently, you're getting a bit more variety of matches too. You got your Rey Mysterio starting the pay-per-view with this completely different style from the time period, and then every match is kind of different. The tag team wrestling at that point where we're watching is way more tag team wrestling. Like the
Nasties, Harlem Heat, Steiners.
So these matches are like, whereas here, like you kind of get a few guys that just seem to be paired together in the tag match, and I thought that probably the first match and the last match was the most enjoyable for me.
Excellent. Well, Big Kev, I'm going to also give it a 6 out of 10. I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed seeing what it was like back then, and comparing it to now. And I look forward to doing that more in future. Was there any more stuff here that I could mention? Nope. I'm going to ask you, Big Kev, your personal MVP of the pay-per-view.
It's got to be Bobby the Brain, really. Oh, no, you know what? Sherri. Sherri was awesome. And probably, yeah, and a close second was Bobby the Brain. So Sherri on this pay-per-view was, as you said before, this is how you use a female manager. Like, just awesome. I don't know why they went where we're at now. She's sort of put into a different, like similar role, but doesn't. It's not as active, you know. Here she just seems to be on the. She's at her best right here.
She's
So
in the
yeah,
hunt. She's doing
the
some stuff.
main story. Really, really integral in this last match. So I thought, yeah, Sherri was awesome.
Very nice. Well, my vote's just going to go to Hogan. I'm giving Hogan the MVP of the show because it's that's just how it is for me. I am now finding my notes here on the last segment here. We've talked about our thoughts on the pay-per-view and our rating. Okay, so Big Kev, we've given our ratings of the show. We've talked about our MVPs of the show, but Big Kev, it's time to find out what Dave Meltzer had to say.
That's right, it's time to find out what did Dave Meltzer say.
Well, you know what? I mean, I'd have to give that 5 stars.
Rumor has it that Mabel is going to be the third guy.
Well, I didn't think we are going to be doing it for this, but I'm actually. It's interesting to see what he's going to be saying at this point in time.
Yeah. Well, I forgot to write down what date it was, but this would have been. I think this is actually the Observer that came out maybe 2 weeks after this pay-per-view, because during this time the steroid trial for Vince McMahon was going on, and that's all the Observer was doing. And I believe Dave wasn't. I believe he was. I don't know what he was doing, but it seemed like there was a gap of time, so he didn't talk about Bash at the Beach until a couple of weeks later. So this is, I believe, where are we at? June. Yeah, so I think this is July 94. So I think this is early or maybe late July 94. Sorry, everyone. Bash at the Beach took place, and Dave said it was a huge success and drew an estimated 1.02 buy rate, 225,000 buys, which is exactly what WCW was hoping for, and makes it the biggest buy rate since 1991. No, it's bigger than that. What the fuck's this 19? What are you fucking going on about? Isn't that when WCW began? Okay, forget it. And more than double the last pay-per-view. And the live crowd was the biggest since Funkin' Flair in 1989. Between the live gate and the pay-per-view profits, Hulk Hogan alone is expected to pull in $680,000, which ain't bad for one night's work. It outdrew King of the Ring by more than 30%, which is the first time a WCW pay-per-view has ever outdrawn a WWF pay-per-view in the same time period. As for the show itself, they started an angle between Attorney Inoki and Steve Regal for Clash of the Champions. Steamboat versus Austin stole the show, but the crowd didn't seem into it. For fuck's sake! How many times do you have to go through this shit? Hogan won the WCW title from Flair in an overbooked but otherwise typical Hogan match. He fucking hates Hogan, bro.
Yeah.
How can you watch that match and not enjoy it?
Yeah. Yeah, when you were going to start this, I was like, okay, Hogan's the main event in this pay-per-view, so he's going to find a way to shit on it, you know. But you know, like if he likes the Steamboat and Austin match, that's fine. He just needs to say that. My preferences of wrestling is this, but it doesn't seem to resonate with the crowd at this point. You know, and that's fair. That's fair. You know, he might really dig this style, and that's fine. But
yeah, but how many times have I read shit out? And he talks about the best match on the show was this, but the crowd didn't seem into it. He says it so often. It's just like, maybe it wasn't the best match on the show.
I think it was one we seen. It was it could have been the Sturgis one where it was it Benoit and
Malenko. He's like, yeah.
I said I just didn't resonate with this match at all. It was very long and boring. The crowd didn't get into it. But yeah, and he reckons that match was the best on the card as well. And I was like, I don't know.
Fucking unbelievable. The next Hogan match should be at Clash of the Champions next month in a rematch with Flair. Followed then by another rematch at Halloween Havoc inside a cage and likely with Mr. T as referee and Muhammad Ali making an appearance in Hogan's corner. Keep that thought in mind if we ever covered that Halloween Havoc. There's been talk of adding a stipulation that Flair will retire if he loses at Havoc, and some of Flair's friends say that he has legitimately been considering retirement.
Wow.
Has he? Yeah, he wrestles for like another fucking 20 years or
50
something.
years.
Expect Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart to start having more influence in WCW due to the success of the pay-per-view.
Carl, they're going to book the show soon.
Why would Jimmy Hart have any? He's just coming out with Hogan. Why rope him in with Hogan? So they're going to have more influence in WCW due to the success of the pay-per-view. Here we go, Kev. This is code for expect Hogan to start getting his friends hired, which that can happen. Yeah. Jim Duggan debuted at the latest tapings, and Brutus Beefcake and Brian Blair appeared with Hogan at the pay-per-view in the post-match celebration. Jimmy Hart is reportedly trying to get Honky Tonk Man hired.
He does get hired, doesn't he? But they don't really use him.
Does he come in at this point?
I'm not sure if he even wrestles a match or something. I think he gets hired and then Bischoff just hates him and just gets rid of him like pretty quickly. I think so anyway. I could be wrong.
Let's have a look. Honky wrestles in WCW in just 94 from August until December.
Yeah.
Okay, so August, September, October. Okay, so like nearly 4 months. Anyway. Here we go with Hogan with the influence. Here we go, Kev. Jesse Ventura has been complaining to anyone who will listen, about being replaced on the WCW Saturday Night Show by Bobby Heenan and not being told ahead of time what role he has at pay-per-views. Speaking of Ventura, he's apparently decided not to run for US Senate. Doesn't he become governor of Minnesota? Yeah. I don't know. What do you think here? Do you think Jesse really is complaining to anyone who will listen?
I think Jesse would know which people he would need to voice his concerns to, but I don't think at this point there would be too many allies, I think, for him at this point in time. Hence why he's not around for very much longer. Like, who's he going to complain to? Bischoff seems to be running the show, and we all know that Bischoff's instrumental in bringing in Hogan. So,
but it says to anyone who will listen. To anyone. Well, Bunkhouse Buck, I'm real pissed off that Bobby Heenan's taking my job on Saturday night. What do you think, Buck? That's a really hard voice to do. Last thing here, Big Kev, on what Dave Meltzer had to say in The Observer in late July 94. Michael Buffer sucks as a wrestling announcer, and Dave says everyone in WCW realizes it, but they've committed to using him for a few more shows. When that's over with, though, don't expect to see him around anymore. He's there until like fucking 99, bro. Like, he's there for 5 more fucking years, dude.
We'll just keep him around a little bit longer. He's getting $1 million a show, but we'll just keep him around. He's not that good, but yeah, we'll just keep him around. Come on, man. I liked when he was on the show, like when he gave out the main event a bit of pizzazz before
it's prestigious.
Yeah, he was the voice of boxing, and then. It's like his brother's the dude doing the UFC now, right?
Yeah, Bruce Buffer. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's in the genes, man. Like,
time.
He sucks at his job. He thinks he sucks. He said that Mean Gene sucks.
He said Mean Gene's really bad at his job. Fuck off, dude.
Eat a dick, eh?
Fucking unbelievable, man. Fucking Michael Buffer's terrible, and everyone in WCW agrees. No, why was he there for another 5 years? Like, Honky Tonk Man lasted 4 months because Eric didn't think he was good. Why was Michael Buffer there 5 years? Fucking hell. Anyway, Big Kev, we've come to the end here of our WCW flashback for Bash at the Beach 1994. Any final thoughts? And please let everyone out there know where they can find you.
Final thoughts is just interesting to see this stuff. It's only a 2-year window, but a lot changes. A lot of the roster changes dramatically. As I said before, I think Bischoff makes a conscious effort to remove that sort of Southern promotion stank, which is on WCW, and try to get a bit more, bringing the celebrities to the show and try to get it a bit more to a younger audience. I think he achieved that pretty quickly too. So it's just interesting to see how you can go from this, which gets the record number of buys. But whether they consistently done this at this time, I don't think they did they? It was like kind of once off. But now you can see the build, and now you can see where the vision is from Bischoff, at least. It's interesting to watch from where we're at right now in the timeline to this. So it's good. It's cool to go back and check it out. So
it's interesting. Like sorry, I'll make one point and you can let everyone know where to find you. But it's almost like WCW is like they're in this like transitional point where there's still the old WCW there, but they're moving forward with this one. So we're kind of like in the middle here, where we've got like Terry Funk still there, and Steamboat still there, and Dustin Rhodes is still there, but they're moving forward into this Hogan era, and they're not quite there yet, but they just started anyway. Kev, anything else, and where can everyone find you?
Yes, you can check me out on Facebook, Kevin Curran Music. That's where you can find my music. If you want any thoughts about the show to directly put to me, I'm on X.
Tweet him.
Was that
X him? Tweet him or X him.
Yeah. What is it now? I don't even know what it is anymore. That would be Hail Mary Kev. That would be me on there. And if you want to check out my band, it's Hail Mary Band on pretty much everything except for Facebook, which is Hail Mary Band page. And I think that's about it.
Excellent, Big Kev. And you can find me on X at California NWO. I don't know. Is there anything else? I don't think so. I think that's it. But anyway, I enjoyed this trip down memory lane, excuse me, Big Kev. And I look forward to doing it again another time. When we need to fill a bit of time before we can get the three of us back.
Yeah, we got some other sort of cool ideas, not just reviewing shows, reviewing some other stuff as well, which
we might be making an investigative report at some point.
So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, things are evolving and growing here on the NW Bros podcast. I'm one of your hosts here, California. This is Big Kev. Blade, hope to see you soon. And ladies and gentlemen, me and Big Kev, and hopefully Blade at some point, we'll see you down the road.